Hi boys, we're going to look at question 23 now. Question 23 was a 5-mark question, and the question was: describe the roles that individuals, communities and governments have in addressing health inequities experienced by Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. So there's 3 areas here that you need to look at in terms of the individuals, the communities and the governments and their roles. You also need to look at what the health inequities are of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. The dot point that relates to is this one here: groups experiencing health inequities. We can see that's Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. You need to, in your research, have what the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders are going to be a compulsory group, plus one other, as we know. But the roles of the individuals, communities and governments play in addressing the health inequities. You can see that down the bottom here. Describe, it asks us to look at the characteristics and features of, provide characteristics and features of. So the things that we're looking for you to get into this top band here, where you clearly discuss the characteristics and features of the roles of individuals, communities and governments in addressing the inequities for ATSI people. Systematically, you could have, and most people did, went through the individuals and the roles that they play. Some of the things that we should be discussing in that, that it is the individual's responsibility. They have a role to play in taking care of their own health, but also as the individual they can influence others, and I think a lot of people alluded to that in their responses. Volunteering is another area there that you could have looked at. In terms of communities, the community action, there were groups that you could have referred to. The Office for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Health, which has connections to the government. They make recommendations to the government about Aboriginal health, as well as the other group that a lot of people refer to, National Aboriginal Community Controlled Health Organisation. As I said, these groups advocate for change, and if you're able to mention these types of organisations, it shows that you're working at a higher level. So please include some of these Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander organisations in your discussion. The government was the next level. The government plays a role in funding, increasing the doctors in the communities. So the role of the government, as well as funding, they have a strong role in providing the health services. For each of these, the area that let people down was they didn't relate specific areas of the inequities of health for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. So it wasn't good enough just to say that there is an inequity. You need to, with your examples, support and be specific in where these inequities exist. For example, it might have related to higher levels of diabetes, and what role does the individual and the community and the government have in assisting that situation or that inequity. So specifics in your examples were required, more than just saying this is a health inequity of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. The other thing that it should allude to is working in partnerships or intersectoral approach. That sort of terminology will assist you and push into the top bracket of a 5. If we have a look at a scanned response here, one of the top responses, systematically gone through the individuals, the community and the government. The examples, use of pamphlets, but that encouraging good healthy behaviours with regard to nutrition. Community health, the example there again alludes to more than just being an inequity. That helps to explain that there's a difference there. Again, in the government section here, we can see the mention of diabetes. So that's what we're looking for in question 23.